Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Thursday, November 16th of 2023. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful week so far. Let's go ahead and hop into the transits for today and see what we have going on. Well, we do, of course, have the Sun and Mars still traveling together. They won't come to their full conjunction until Saturday, but they've been traveling with each other in Scorpio for a little bit here now. And of course, we do have Venus and Mercury, which are moving at similar paces, but Mercury has overtaken Venus, if you will, and is now at 9 degrees 28 minutes, whereas Venus is at 9 degrees 5 minutes. But they are still in sextile, coming off of the yod that they're making to Jupiter. So you're going to start to feel that energy start to loosen up a bit today, right? Now, what's the moon doing? Well, we got the moon over here in Capricorn. That's right. The moon is in its detriment because, I'd much rather be in Cancer. It is over here in the sign of Capricorn, which is being disposited by Saturn and Pisces at 0 degrees. Remember what I've been saying about Saturn and Pisces is that time is definitely an illusion right now, and this is the time where we are really picking what timeline we are going to actually embark upon. With this moon in Capricorn, especially coming out of Sag, going into Capricorn, especially with all this Scorpio energy that's really building up to the first quarter square, which will happen as the Sun and Mars come into their conjunction in a few days. This moon in Capricorn, it's going to feel a bit edgy, especially with Pluto here at 28 degrees. This moon, we're definitely going to be wanting to feel like we have our ducks in a row. We're going to be wanting to feel like we're organized, that we have some sort of have a sense of direction, if you will, that we're building towards. But it can be a little bit difficult, especially considering the fact that moon today is going to square over to Venus at 9 degrees. So, Venus is looking, of course, for some balance, harmony. Also, it's very concerned about the aesthetic of things. And with the moon in Capricorn, we can definitely get really focused and hyper fixated on how things look to people, how we may look professionally, if we're like polished enough. And a square to Venus is definitely going to want to have us putting on all the makeup, make sure that we're polished, making sure that we are ready to go. And we may not necessarily feel all ready to go, especially with everything coming really tight and close here in Scorpio, right? 24 degrees. They are making the quincunx over to the North Node and Eris right now as well. So this is about, we have to learn how to deal with the rawness of life. Things are definitely feeling a bit rough around the edges, but there's going to be this feeling, like I said, with this moon in Capricorn making a square to Venus today, there's going to be this feeling of like, well, even if we are rough around the edges, how can I polish this and how can I make this look good? But you don't want to get to the point where you're like putting lipstick on a pig, right? This is definitely this is like primo bullshit energy where people might try and bullshit their way to success and try and be like, you know what, I have everything figured out. I'm polished. The people are going to want to try and look perfect with this kind of energy. Moon, mind you, before it does make a square to Venus, it does trine over to Jupiter. So harmonious aspect, beautiful aspect. But we got to remember, of course, that the moon doesn't really like to be in Capricorn. Much rather be where Jupiter is because it's exalted in Taurus. And Jupiter doesn't really want to be where the moon is either. So there's a bit of an awkward energy here, right? And I would say, if anything, Jupiter kind of wins this one, or at least is the one that is guiding this harmonious aspect, because we're going to be looking in the outside world for validation. This moon in Capricorn squaring over to Venus, we're going to be looking in the outside world for validation. We're going to be looking to other people to confirm whether we are good enough, whether we have achieved success, whether we have made it. We're going to be looking for those affirmations. This moon trining over to Jupiter is saying that you already have everything within you, and that it's not out there in the world, it's not out there in society that's going to give you the happiness that you need, the serotonin that you need, right? This is about this is coming from a deeper sense of purpose, right? So that's really what this is talking about. This moon squaring Venus, but before, of course, like I said, it trines over Jupiter. So, what's your purpose? Is your purpose something that's given to you by someone else, or is it something that comes from within? That's the thing about this. This happens, like I said, a little bit later in the day, like 6:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the whole thing, like I said, we do have Sun and Mars traveling with each other in Scorpio, which is a super raw energy, and we haven't experienced this energy since 1991, when your boy was born. That was the last time we had a Sun and Mars conjunct in Scorpio, and before that, you have to go to the 50s. So it's been a while, right? That's the thing about this. That's the thing about astrology too, is that like everyone gets so concerned about Mercury retrograde. You're starting to see more people talk about the other retrogrades, but you'd be like, oh my God, it's Mercury retrograde. My Mercury retrograde is 3 times a year. No biggie. No biggie, right? Or you get full moons, like the full blue moon, or fucking Lion's Gate, which happens every year, which is some bullshit thing that some astrologers came up with to try and make it special. You got to look at the things that haven't happened in a while, the things that happen maybe once every 10, 20, 30, maybe 100 years, maybe even longer. Those are the things that you got to pay attention to, because it's those rare moments is when the big things are going to happen. So like I said, think back 30 years ago, the last time the Sun and Mars were conjunct in Scorpio. Where were you? I was born. So when I was born, the Sun was at 24 degrees of Scorpio and Mars was at 21 degrees. I'd have to look to see how fast that they were moving. So yeah, 24, 21. And then if I were to go to see how fast that they're moving, let's see, Mars was moving at 42 minutes a day. The Sun was moving at a minute. So they had conjuncted earlier, unless Mars somehow caught up. But no, the conjunction would have happened a few days prior to this. So if we were to just go back a little bit, you'll see that conjunction happened. Looks like it happened at 16 degrees, 15 degrees. Yeah, happened at 15 degrees. So November 8th, 1991, 8th to the 9th, 1991 is the last time that we had a Mars and Sun conjunct in Scorpio. Mind you, Pluto was in Scorpio at the same time too. That makes for a very auspicious, weird time, right? Mercury was in Sag, like it is right now, right? You have the moon was in Sag, right? You had the Uranus Neptune North Node conjunction that was happening in Capricorn around that time too. So a lot of the energies were definitely a little bit different, but similar, right? They were similar. That's the last time that this could have happened. The last time that could have happened. So we just go back to now, and then let's see, boom. That way you're not totally confused with what's going on, my beloveds. But yeah, that's the last time that this could have happened. Was at 15 degrees is when they conjuncted, right? Just for shits and giggles, let's just go back to when the Sun was at 15 degrees this year. Let's see what was going on. All right, so when the Sun was at 15 degrees this year, and I'm gonna go back even one more day because it would have been more like this. All right, so the Moon was in Virgo, right? It was coming off an opposition to Saturn. Venus was shifting into Libra. Mercury was in Scorpio. So I'm saying, and you could even say that that point was really activated when Mars hit that 15th degree mark, right? So we've already been kind of building up to this energy ever since November 3rd, right? And of course, at that time, the moon was all the way over in Cancer, and it was actually going to oppose Pluto that day. And this is also when we had that cardinal T square between the moon and the nodes. And then, of course, it ends up opposing Pluto. So you can say that there's a loose cardinal cross with this energy as well. So That's the thing. A lot of this energy is building up because it's similar. It's hitting the same points. It's clicking in. But remember, history rhymes. It doesn't necessarily repeat. So, like I said, when Mars hit that 15th degree, that's when it really started to bring that home and started to like kind of remind us of what happened in those energies of 1991, right? And you could even really say that because the sun is here, it's within 5 degrees of Mars. And yeah, they're not quite conjunct, but the sun is a large energy, so it has a really big influence, right? So we've been feeling this energy for a bit. It's been building up for the last 2 weeks. And of course, that all was building up to the new moon. Now, like I said, today we have a moon that's going to trine Jupiter, and then it's going to square Venus. And these two are moving pretty much at the same pace, Mars and Sun. So I mean, as far as like how fast that they're both moving, you have Mars, which is moving at 42 minutes a day. The Sun is moving at a minute. So yeah, that's the thing about this. The other part about this too, I want to show you guys as well, because I think that this is very interesting too. If I just stop sharing that screen, and then I want to share another screen, that way you guys can see what I'm talking about. So this right here shows you how fast and of course how slow planets are moving. But you see these purples, these are out of declination, so they're out of bounds. So we have the moon that's going to be out of bounds today, and we have Mercury that's going to be out of bounds today. So that's going to cause some interesting energy as well. A Mercury out of bounds in Sag too, nonetheless. And we got to remember that Mercury's doesn't quite reach 2 minutes a day, which is his fastest speed. Mercury's not going to get much faster. It's going to start slowing down because it's going to retrograde in Capricorn. So we have a Mercury that's going to be slowing down. It says it's moving fast, but we know that Mercury's going to be slowing down because we know it's going to retrograde in Capricorn. Why do you know it's going to retrograde in Capricorn? Because it retrogrades in the same element every single year. So, or every year. So like if it retrogrades in like Taurus, you know it's going to retrograde in Virgo, and you know it's going to retrograde also in Capricorn. If Mercury is going to retrograde in Cancer, you know it's also going to retrograde in Scorpio, and you know it's going to retrograde in Pisces. So that's the thing about this. These with a Mercury out of balance in Sag, where Sag already it doesn't want to be there, and much rather be gallivanting around, spreading the good word, spreading the gospel, if you will. Right now, he's just writing down the gospel, right? Which is a little bit boring to Mercury. Mercury wants to actually get out there and actually speak and spread the word and stuff. But right now, Mercury is writing it down, and it's out of bounds too. So be prepared for conversations that could potentially come out of nowhere. People probably like throwing you some curveballs, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, with the moon in here in Capricorn, that's squaring Venus through all this, we're definitely going to be trying to look polished. This is like I said, putting lipstick on a pig. We're wanting to almost like paint this image like we got it. Like we got it, we're good. And we don't want anyone to know our faults and where we may be coming up short. But this Mars and Sun conjunction in Scorpio is bringing out the rawness of this world, is bringing out the rawness of nature, and then making us realize that, hey, we're not perfect. We're a bit raw. We may be a little bit rough around the edges, but that doesn't mean that we still can't get things done. That doesn't mean that we can't make our dreams happen. That doesn't mean that we can't have this spiritual awakening experience. But who said that it was going to be smooth anyways? Right? Who said it was going to be smooth anyways? That's the thing about this, right? So emotionally, we're going to be feeling out of balance today. Mentally, we're going to be feeling out of balance today. Those are like the two primary things that people focus on: their emotions and then their mental stuff. But we're going to be feeling out of balance when it comes to that. Not only that, but the moon, like I said, both of these planets are in their detriment. Moon's in its detriment in Capricorn, Mercury's in its detriment in Sag, and they're out of balance. So it's a double whammy. So it's like if you think you're going to think your way out of a situation or feel your way out of a situation, think again. You got to go to the Mars and Scorpio. You got to dig a little bit deeper. You got to go to the Jupiter and Taurus. You got to see the value from within. You got to grow and expand from within. It's not external. You got to go to Saturn at the beginning of Pisces. The world is absolutely your oyster. But if you get so caught up on just, it's like walking into a grocery store and you have all the options in the world to you, but you get paralyzed by what to pick. But the universe is asking you, my child, make a decision, pick something, commit to something. I don't know if it's going to work out. Okay, and I got you. This is an exercise in trust. This is an exercise in faith. This is not, people are going to want to guarantee outcomes before they make decisions. They want guarantee so they don't take losses. Life includes loss. Life includes risk. So these are transits for the risk takers. These are transits for those who aren't afraid to push the boundaries a little bit. Mars with the sun in Scorpio is pushing the boundaries. Are you willing to push the boundaries a little bit? Not too much, not to the point where you know it takes you into those weird dark places that you've been before that drag your energy down, not that, but pushing the boundaries in your spiritual life, pushing the boundaries and, digging deeper, healing that inner child, doing the shadow work, not suppressing it. It's going to be a little awkward today. I'm not going to lie. It's going to feel a bit weird with the moon out of bounds and Mercury out of bounds and their detriments. It's going to feel a bit awkward. And like I said, with the moon that's squaring Venus, not easy energy. Not easy energy. And we shouldn't deny that it's, not easy energy. We can't just put a blanket over it. We can't sweep things under the rug. This is people are going to be wanting to sweep things under the rug today. Don't sweep it under the rug. Confront it. Deal with it. Move forward. Let's get into the cards. So, let's see if I can actually get a good shuffle today. I've been getting a lot of the same cards. Let's see if I can actually get a good shuffle today. Let's see. All right, let's see what we got going on in the cards for today. Hold on, let me look at that. Yeah, the moon is at negative. Yeah, see, that's the thing too. I mean, if y'all even want to just take it like a slight step further too. Not only are those energies out of bounds, but you can even see by their scores. Darn it, hold on. You can see by their scores down here. Moon, -2. Mercury, -10. Right? Not easy. Venus is at +11, which is nice, but it's squaring the moon. And we're going to want to look polished and look like we got everything figured out. Mars is at +5. Saturn's at +5. Right? So really the energy is coming from the malefics. It's coming from Mars and Saturn. Because even though Venus is here at +11, it does square the moon today. And it's also, the South Node is here as well. So Venus can't really turn up like she wants to. She wants to turn up now that she's at home, but she can't really turn up the way that she really wants to. So that's the thing about this. It's the malefics. It's Mars and Saturn. It is the hard energy. It's the energy that's a little rough around the edges. It's the war of attrition. Life is a war of attrition. So It's about having that gusto, that oomph, right? These are not transits for the lighthearted. It's going to take a little bit of gusto, a little bit of oomph. That's what it is. I got the Knight of Swords in reverse. Yep, we're going to be wanting to rush to conclusions today, kind of rush into things. And I think, like I said, we are pushing the boundaries, but we got to be careful on how we push the boundaries and what boundaries we push. If there are boundaries that you push today that you've already pushed in the past and they've led you down to weird roads, and you probably shouldn't go down those roads, right? But I can't tell you what and what not to do. Right? You got to trust your intuition and trust your gut. Maybe something about the situation is different from last time, but you have to be honest with yourself, right? So the Knight of Swords loves to just rush into battle, but you gotta be polished. You gotta do some swords play. You gotta practice, right? We also have that followed by, well, yeah, we have the Eight of Wands. It's so crazy. Like we were wanting things to move so fast. I feel like the Knight of Swords is someone that is just, I see like a professional person that's trying to get this presentation together last minute and wants it to look perfect. And because it's the Eight of Wands, it feels like there's a deadline. Like Eight of Wands in reverse is like we feel like there's a deadline and we feel like we have to rush to get something done. But it's like, are you going to do your best work that way? Are you going to do your best work that way? Is there really any need to rush? There's ways to push the boundaries without having to rush, right? There's a way to be efficient about it. But if we're just rushing, we're just pushing it for no reason, just because we feel a little bit angsty, then we're going to end up making decisions and stuff like that. They're going to lead us down some pretty awkward places and lead us in some pretty auspicious places. And we're gonna be like, oh shit, I got myself in a situation, right? We have that followed by the Hermit. Yeah, this is a day where we really want to just take the time, chill out, and be the observer, right? This is an energy where it feels very angsty, it feels very like apprehensive, but we gotta chill out and become the observer. Chill out and become the observer. All right, bottom of the deck, we have the Eight of Pentacles. Yep. You have to study, you have to work on your craft. So this whole present, like whether you're making a product or you're doing like a presentation or something and you're wanting to look perfect and polished, but it's not quite coming out the way that you want to, practice makes perfect. So be okay with practice. You don't feel like you have to overperform right now. Don't feel like you have to have it all figured out right now. Don't feel like you have to have all your ducks in a row right now, because no one has all their ducks in a row right now. So stop trying to put on that farce. Stop trying to put on that image that you got it all. Like you got everything figured out. Be honest about it, but also, like I said, put in the work, put in the hard work. Go back and be the student for a bit, right? Go back and be the student for a bit. And you got this. Just chill out a little bit. Don't rush too hard. Don't push the boundaries too hard right now. We are all pushing the boundaries in our life in some way or capacity, right? It's just the way that we go about it is really going to determine how we handle 2024. For real. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, y'all take care. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful Thursday. I will see you all on the next astrology forecast, which would be my birthday. Peace.